All right, so NBA draft tomorrow night. Now, you said, I think there's several players that would describe the Cooper Flags, the Wembys, some of these younger players with a ton of talent. There was one that comes with a massive red flag for me. And it's not AJ DeBonsa,
I know
who's
exactly
number one overall pick, who's been awesome. He delivered on what you thought. He's one of the top scorers in college basketball as a freshman, one of the highest paid players out of NIL. Cameron Boozer has been an ultimate team player. He's won.
NBA bloodlines.
All of that. Darryn Peterson, to me, is the most polarizing pick in this NBA draft. So he's at Kansas last year, and he's missing a lot of time early. And their injuries like hamstring, groin, cramping was something that he was dealing with. And there was a lot of speculation that people were wondering, all right, is his team telling him to shut it down? We even talked about this during the season because a couple times you saw Darryn Peterson, he'd get 20 points. He'd almost hit a number. And he'd walk by Bill Self, his coach, and he'd just tap out. He would just be like, yep, I'm done. I'm good. I got mine. And then Bill Self was constantly having to defend him to the public because the media was starting to ask questions like, where is his heart? Does he even want to be there? Is he just managing minutes until he gets the NBA draft? He's tried to debunk it. Him and his team have tried to say, you ready for this? The creatine was the reason why he had so many cramps, that he took too much creatine and he was cramping, and it really affected his ability to stay healthy throughout the beginning portion of the season. There are some people that are buying this. Like in cramping has been a side effect of creatine. And I've taken creatine. I still take it now. I took it a little bit in high school when it was like all the rage when Mark McGuire and them were, that was what they were saying they were taking. But he becomes the most polarizing pick because I think it's the ultimate talent versus temptation. Like, is this too much talent where you can't pass up and ignore some of the very real red flags on Darryn Peterson? I would not take him. I would not take him if it was me. I think there's a lot of other good players you could build around. I think it's a huge risk to take Darryn Peterson.
Absolutely. The definition of a boom or bust, right? He's an explosive guard. He can score on all three levels. And he has the potential, I think, to be the best player in the draft. In saying that, I wouldn't take him either because that is terrifying to me. A guy who plays 19 minutes says, I got mine, I'm going to chill. And to think that at a university, a blue blood program like Kansas, he couldn't get a grasp on his creatine intake with their training staff and those doctors is crazy to me. And he's also had months to sort of fix that. And then you find out last week that he said, I'm not interviewing with anybody but the number one overall pick. Like, come on, bro. Get a clue. Even optically, even if it's not what you want. I get it. You think you're the best player in the draft. You might be. You think you're going to go first. You might. Optically, you go speak to 2. You go speak to 3. Like, it's no sweat off your sack. You sit there for 25, 35 minutes with these guys. You have a conversation with them, and you're on your way. You know what I mean? The lack of self-awareness and the lack of input from his team to tell him, dude, you just got to do it. I know you don't want to do it, but that's part of being a grown man, brother. You don't want to do it, you still got to do it, right? And when he doesn't do that, that's worrisome to me. Yeah, I think the top 5 is rounded out with Cam Boozer and, like you said, and Caleb Wilson from UNC is going to be a pretty good player. I'm excited to see about Darius Acuff. I'm a big Darius Acuff guy.
That's my guy.
I want to see if he sneaks a little higher into this draft.
And he's like the exact opposite of Darryn Peterson. They had a double overtime loss. Now, they lost the game. When he was at Arkansas, they were playing Alabama. All he did in that game was he dropped 49 points, which was a record for a freshman scoring record. And not to mention, John Calipari, his coach, said earlier in the week he was in a walking boot. So he was playing injured when he could have easily, he had the excuse to sit it out, say, you know what, I want to get healthy, but he wanted to go out there and ball. I think he's the type of player that could be one of the surprises after a few years we're looking at and say, how could have so many teams passed on Darius Acuff? The guy is a walking bucket. He is incredible as a scorer. I think he's going to be a steal for whoever gets him.
Yeah, and I think so too, man. He's perfect for this NBA. I think he can distribute the ball. I think he can score, and I think he's one of those guys who's going to raise up when the pressure raises up, he's going to raise his game. I think he's ready for this, ready for the bright lights. He's welcoming. Played at a big program, so I think it's going to be a good one. I'm excited to see it. One last thing. I hate to go back and pile on, but again, I thought I was right about it. I wanted to make sure I checked on it. He basically said, Darryn Peterson, I don't want to go to Utah. Please don't draft me. To the point where Draymond Green was like, Utah doesn't give a crap. Like, they're going to take you. It doesn't matter what you want. So, yeah, interesting,
That's like
man.
Red flag galore. There's way too many of them around Darryn Peterson. Now, there is a chance that if you pass on him, maybe he is one of those players that comes out and lights. He's got that type of talent. Talked to a lot of guys in college basketball, cover the game. They said he was the most talented player. But again, There's all those lists of guys in the trade rumors at one time. Right. Most of them were most talented players as well.
But I would say one last thing. The top 4 picks are Washington, Utah, Memphis, Chicago. I think it's going to be vital for a young guy like that to get in a locker room with good veteran presence. And I'm trying to look at these teams and think about who are the veteran presences in Washington or Utah or Memphis or Chicago. And I don't know that I even see any like veterans that could take him to the side, put your arm around him and say, brother, this is how we do it here. You're a professional now. Like, there's no more of this kiddie stuff. And it's going to be interesting, man, but it'll be fun to watch for sure when he's out there.
Yes, it will.